My mom meant the world to me, and she moved out here before we did. And so she's always instilled in us that we needed to read. And she always instilled with us that we needed to know who Jesus was. We went to church every Sunday. So I think it's just like it says in the Bible that you'll never depart from him. And I just think that's so important. What your parents teach you to do is so monumental in your walk with God. And I just want to thank my mom. She's in heaven now, but she was my best friend.
One of the most memorable moments that I had with my mother was one of my last moments that I had with her. She was laying in a hospital dying from cancer, only 61 years of age. I flew back from Arizona to Ohio with one main mission, and that was to lead her to Jesus Christ. I was afraid to do it. I was intimidated. I was a new Christian myself. And so I kept praying, God, you have got to give me the courage to do this. Well, he gave me the courage, and she was receptive. And I led her through the sinner's prayer, and she said it. And the good news is, I will get to see her again one day. And what a wonderful reunion that will be.
One of the most memorable things that I remember about my mom is that she was a very giving person, and we had a Christmas when I was young that we didn't have a lot, and our churches pitched in for each of us, gave us a wonderful Christmas, and every year after that, until her very last Christmas, she was the one that she adopted a family, and she gave to them as we were giving. And I've strived my entire life to be like my mom, a giving person.
One of my favorite memories of Mom is when we would come home from school on the school bus. We lived in the country, and she would have baked cinnamon rolls hot out of the oven for us, and she always had them just ready, cool enough to frost when we walked in the door. And so when we sat down and told her about our day, she gave us cinnamon rolls. We had great fun. And another thing is that she could do anything. She drove a tractor, milked cows, but she could sew and crochet and knit and everything involved with homemaking. And it was just so many memories.
I left home right out of college, and so I was pretty much on my own. I lived by myself in Colorado, away from home, and I just remember my mom would always send me, for every holiday, she always sent me a card. For every, and the boxes I got for Christmas were just outstanding. I just remember that she used to do that for me, just to help me to get through those holidays on my own. So thanks, Mom.
But one thing that my mother is inspirational to me. All my life she's told me, you're perfect the way you are, you're good. Nobody can tell you you're bad. And to this day, she tells me that everything that I do is good, and God's with me all the time. So she's a very much inspiration to me in life.
Hi, my mom has already gone home to be with our Lord Jesus Christ, but in my eyes, she was the greatest woman that ever walked the face of this earth. She covered for me, she had my back. Many times she told me, I won't tell your father about this. And I really appreciated that. I can see the same thing in my wife Leanne with our two kids. She loves them unconditionally. But as for me, they get too close, I might have to eat them. Happy Mother's Day. God bless you.
My mom left me a great legacy in Christian heritage. She taught me how to pray and fast when I was just a child. After school, she would teach me Bible stories in the most fun and interesting way. I remember as a teenager, she would have us kids and some of our youth friends kneel in the living room, and she taught us how to seek God in the old Pentecostal way. But her greatest talent was working with children. She won many children to the Lord. My mom believed in me. She was my greatest confidant, helper, and encourager. I thank God for my mom.
Something about my mom is that she prayed for me when I was a kid, And when I was sleeping, it was a little scared, but I appreciated that she did that for me.
I remember growing up, I always thought I was one of the luckiest people in the world to have my mom, and that she was always the best, and I was just blessed by that. You know, mom can be summed up by 2 words: tenacity and tenderness. I remember as a young child at 6 years old, having migraine headaches and laying my head in my mom's lap, and she would rub my head and they would go away, and she was always there to make things right. And she was just a special mom, and I love her.